live now.
Alrighty.
Okay, we are live. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm excited as we start getting people joining. I'm really, really grateful for this opportunity. I know that it's been a while, and most of you know that this is something that is a big deal for me, and for us to be able to still come back here to do this, then it means a lot. Okay, it means a lot. So I want to just encourage those that'll be joining. Please, you can share this link. This is very, very important, as we always do. Okay, and also I want you to know that the person we have in our midst today, our guest today, well, you guys are going to understand exactly what I mean by the time we start sharing, by the time we start talking, because it's someone that, personally I respect and I've admired for the great work she's doing and for the life she's transforming and for the, parenting style she has introduced into the parenting ecosystem and the shifting ground. So it will be really, really an interesting thing for you to, share this link in your social media site, invite others, and even when we are done, please, I would like this to go far and wide. And I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to promote the hell out of this at the end of this event anyway, because the topic we're talking about today is very, very important. Okay. Thank you so much. As you know, Married Life Show, and we're excited to share another incredible nuggets to help your parenting journey to have an incredible and amazing relationship with your family and your kids. Okay, I have Wendy Olego. Okay, Wendy, how you feeling joining us today?
Thank you so much, Inda. I am happy, excited to share this platform with you. And thank you for the work you do in the marriage system.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done.
It's interesting because we can't have great marriages if we don't have great families and great
Yeah,
parenting. Right.
yeah,
And you
yeah.
know very well that a lot of relationship has suffered a lot because the parenting style wasn't the best and the
Hmm.
parents were not doing it properly. And that is why I decided that we do this to also let those that are married, those that have kids, and those that are yet, to have theirs, as God gives them the opportunity to know that there is a way to parent. You don't just parent anyhow. And our guest is a master in that, and she's gonna tell us how to master the act of parenting intentionally. Guys, you need to understand this. Please share this link. This might just save a marriage, save a family, save a child, and just give them the best. And she's gonna tell us what she does as well. And a lot of you have the opportunity to even be part of what is about to start in the next couple of weeks. And I can tell you, it's gonna hit every one of you in your core on what you need to do to become a great parent. Right. I'm going to tell Wendy, please just tell us about yourself very briefly. Tell us who you are, what you do, and why you are so amazing.
Thank you again, Coach Chinda Chinda. I like the name. So the first time I heard that name, I was like, Chinda Chinda. Interesting. Okay. And I usually get very I have an affinity to men that are into marriage, system. My husband is. So whenever I see men who are doing marriage, I'm like, oh wow, this is really nice. This is amazing. And thank you so much. So my name is Wendy Ologe. When people ask me, where do we find you? I say, just put Wendy Ologe. I'm the only one. There is no other Wendy Ologe. If you find another one, that person is fake. I like the way my pastor puts it. Bishop Oyedebo will say, when you put David Oyedebo anywhere in the world, that mail comes to me first before it will
Mm,
go to any other person who answers a David Oyedebo. So that's what I'm telling you today. If you put a name
mm,
and a mail and say Wendy Ologe, it comes to my office first. All right.
I-
So so what I do. I am a parent coach. I like to say that I teach parents how to parent because a lot of us think that parenting is intuitive, but it's not. And
mm,
I am the founder of the Intentional Parent Academy. We help
mm,
parents learn what parenting is about. I enjoy my job. I am passionate about what I do. As in, I'm so passionate that if you wake me up in the night and you tell me to talk about parenting, I can start speaking in tongues where you are. I can listen to you. All right, so that's a bit about me. I'm a mom. I have teenagers who are twins, and I'm happily grown, amazingly and excitedly married. That's a profile that I love. I love extrally because I believe that some of us marriage have made us, and I
Mm,
believe that marriage makes people. So yes,
absolutely.
that's who I am.
Wow, wow, wow. I love one thing you said there is say, you're passionately doing this. And when someone add passion to it, it's like a fire has been lit. It takes you even further and further. I'm so grateful, for the connection, and I know that our viewers today and those that's going to view the replay, and also those that is going to listen to this via the podcast when we turn into audio, you will know that there's so much that she's going to give out today. And all I'm just saying, take action. Okay, take action at the end of this, and your parenting journey will never remain the same. We're looking at how to master the act of parenting. So let's go to the first one. What is your why for pursuing parenting intentionally, and why must we listen to you today? Why are you
Okay,
so passionate about this?
so my why, the passion.
Yes.
I'm very passionate
Yes.
about governance. I'm very
Okay.
passionate about leadership. So
Hmm.
the part of me that a lot of people do not know is that I am very politically inclined, extraordinarily politically inclined. I want to play politics. But
Minister of in our
now,
country.
now I come from a family. My mom is from a very politically affiliated family in the country. So
Okay.
so I have watched my uncles play in the political arena for
Hmm.
years. And it's been exciting, it's been interesting, but there is something that keeps getting me to all of that thing. I see that we have a problem with the kind of leaders that we have. And for every time I look at the kind of leaders we have, I am worried. So I
Hmm.
started to ask myself, why do we have the kind of leaders we have? Is it because
Hmm.
people are not trained to be leaders? Is it that people are not attending, classes to be leaders and all of that? And
Hmm.
in my quest to finding out why we have the kind of leaders we have, I
Hmm.
started to understand
Hmm.
that our problem was the family. Now, how did I know? Because I came to a conclusion that the society is a product of the family.
Hmm.
Now, there is no society that
Hmm.
is, you know, that is formed outside of the family. So when people
Hmm.
say, oh, the leadership in this place, oh, we have a corrupt leadership, oh, we have
Hmm.
all of these people come from homes. So the
Hmm.
question I kept asking was, what happened?
Hmm.
Why exactly do we have the kind of leadership that we have? Why do we have the kind of government that we have? Being
Hmm.
someone who is passionate about leadership, I started to ask myself question. I don't want to play in a leadership system that is
Hmm.
not going to work. How do we change it? Since I can't play in that leadership system in the
Hmm.
now, what do I do to help, in the future? How can we get even better system? Now, that
Hmm.
was my first quest into finding out what happens in the family. Number
Hmm.
two was then I became a parent. I became a parent, and I became a parent too, first, a
Hmm.
foster child. My husband and I started fostering a child at the first year of our marriage. Before we started parenting the twins, we got an opportunity to begin to
Hmm.
parent a 15-year-old.
Hmm.
That would be the hardest thing we have ever done in our lives. And, when we started that journey, I would realize that I didn't have what it takes to raise anybody. And
Hmm.
before then, prior to that time, if you had asked me, I would tell you
Hmm.
that I was raised by awesome parents. Why not? I had seen them do it. It means
Hmm.
that I can do this thing. I had seen my parents not, use, for instance, hitting a child as a disciplinary method. But I
mm,
saw myself getting frustrated and not knowing what to do. And
mm,
it was so hard. And I started
mm,
to look for knowledge. I went
mm,
to look for knowledge for me. We were looking for what to do, and we found knowledge. We didn't
mm,
just find knowledge, we made magic. Our then 15-year-old who is currently married today, it's
mm,
like someone, an adult you will meet today, and you're like,
mm,
wow. And I took away one thing from that process. People become who raised them. People
mm,
become who raised them, what the person who raised them know. And
mm,
it was a turnaround, a turning point for me. And then I started
mm.
to use those things I have learned and began to also journey through. I will leave out the spiritual aspect of my journey for you.
Okay.
Because that's another angle where I would say to people that I didn't just start doing parenting, teaching parenting because I wanted to know. I was
Mm-hmm.
working for one of the biggest organizations in the world. I
Mm,
didn't need to do nothing. I was good, comfortable, amazing, and had
mm,
whatever it is I can have.
mm,
And yet, I that's why I say what I do is a mandate more than just a quest for whatever.
mm,
So, and
mm,
it's that was how my life started in 2018.
mm,
um I would dive into building the Intentional Parenting Academy, an academy
mm,
today that spans to reach parents from all over the world, thousands of parents everywhere. Something we're very
mm,
grateful for, but a mandate that we're pursuing
mm,
relentlessly, without
mm.
looking. So that's basically how I got here.
One of the interesting things that I took away from what you've just said was you had an experience, you had an encounter that probably there was a light bulb, an awakening that you realize that this thing that you need to do, there's a certain knowledge, there's a certain skill set that is required for you to do it and make it functional in a way that the impact will be long lasting, not just transit and for a while. And
Uh-huh.
again, from a background that you saw from your parents, you saw growing up, and you saw that leadership, you saw that things were happening, and then you came from one of those incredible and amazing country of ours. Hallelujah. Okay. you know we gotta say it optimistically, right? We have
I
to say it
know,
positively, right?
I
So
know.
yeah, we know the data, but the data is whoever has the data, right? So
Hmm.
but you saw things and you are passionate about that, the governance side, the policy side, the procedure side, and what needs to be done to make things better for families, which means looking at that side and then looking at the experience you had again with a 15-year-old, which praise God is in a better place now where he has his own home and all that. That imparted you to say, "Mm-mm, things has to be done differently." And guys, you may not understand that she has written a lot of books, a lot of guides, and it's still the drive. She's a ferocious, audacious, unapologetic reader, if you know what I mean by that. Okay. Somebody that eat and drink every available book on children on the planet. So have to understand the kind of person we have here. So she when she says she found knowledge, you need to know that she found it from a hidden source of incredible wisdom. Okay, so that is who our guest is. And I thank God for you giving your time, your life for this great mission, and the impact that the evidence is everywhere, the testimonial and the changes that is happening in different relationships. But just wanted to ask this second question, which will just take us a little bit further. Um, what effect have your why reproduced in your own parenting journey? I know you've taught that a bit, but just elaborate a bit.
Okay, so my why, the effect that my why has reproduced is, I started that my core why was how people were raised to lead. And at the core of our parenting journey. You know, I say that many parents don't know, many families don't know where they are going. There is nowhere. So I see a lot of parents, they are running. They have they are not running with anything. They're just running and just moving.
Hmm.
You know how you go to the airport, and I usually use this analogy. How does it look? You get to the airport, everybody is going. So you know how the airport is crazy. Imagine that you drop at Heathrow, for
Hmm.
instance.
Yeah.
Everybody is facing there. Nobody is
Hmm.
standing and asking any funny question. You already know where you're going.
Mm-mm.
And
Yes.
and everybody just going and moving. And then you just get to Heathrow, and then you are looking all around. And then you're wondering where you're going. And then the
Mm.
next thing you are asking, oh, are you guys going here? Or are you going to this place? We don't know where we are going. We just came here. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
does. But
Mm.
unfortunately, that's what a lot of families do. So a lot of
Mm.
families run without a vision, without a mission, without a value. They just running. We have given birth. Let's just be going. And then everybody just wakes up every day and just grows and all of that. And that was part of what led me to the system of parenting that we create for the academy that we also run in my home.
Mm.
If you ask the parents that I teach, they will tell you, coach will first of all do make sure that she has replicated, make sure that she has results before she comes to you. And that's how I teach.
Mm.
If I
Mm.
do not even test the process, I don't even teach you, because I want to be able to teach you principles, and not just what works for you or what works for whoever, but principles that actually would work anywhere,
Mm.
irrespective of the methodology that that principle was actually used. One of the things that has done for me was my husband and I, have came up with a vision. And part of our vision for our
Mm.
home is leadership.
Mm.
Now, because we are, funny enough, he also comes from a background of very, passionate leadership system. I do
Mm.
as well.
Mm.
And then we also both come from the background of teaching. It's both parents were teachers. My
Mm.
father-in-law used to be the former DVC of Abuja. My dad was
Mm.
a principal. So we come from a learning environment, the both of us.
Mm.
And we believed in leadership. And so our core was is leadership. How has
Mm.
this affected our journey as parents? When you meet our children, the very
Mm.
first thing we are going to be able to pick out is the ability to lead and be responsible in an environment. I remember when our son went to secondary school, and
Mm.
the first comment we heard from the housemaster was, "How did you guys rate this guy? He is able to lead his mates." If I want his mates to actually be in a place, I just say, Ayo Loge, I need you to ensure that your mates are here until I'm back. And that is sorted. He doesn't need to think. And it was very striking to me. It's something that we are very passionate about. It's a value that we have not just said is a value in our home. Now, one of the things that I teach in parenting is it's not just by blotting that say, we are honesty is our value. No, 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 no. We're talking about a system in the home that puts it, even when you're not there, your children live it. And that's what this has done for me. And
Mm.
because of my why, I want
Mm.
my children to be able to lead, not necessarily hold positions. I'm not
Mm.
interested, but I want leadership. I want them
Mm.
to understand that they are kings in a system, and that they are
Mm.
able to actually embody that. So that's how that have reproduced my journey. For our foster daughter, for instance, when she went to serve, she was the best serving copper in her state. She got a presidential award. It was so we've walked the journey. She did the best project in her school. The project
Mm.
she did in her school, in the
Mm.
state she served, was so
Mm.
resounding that I remember that when she had come to us to talk about that project. Oh, we had money to give her to go and do the project, but we sat
Mm.
back, and then
Mm.
because we understand our journey, we told her you need to source the funds to also do this. And she
Mm.
started to source the funds to do her project. It was part of what she started to teach, how to source funding for
Mhm.
projects in NYC. It was big. But
Mm.
because she understood the place of who we were, where we were
Mm.
going, it made her understand that anywhere I am, I need
Mm.
to actually make impact. And that's what
Mm.
leadership for us actually really meant. So yeah.
Wow. you know, because I know a bit about you and some of the things you have written. it makes a lot of sense when you say you are raising independent thinking child. which is a title of a book actually. You see what I mean? So
Mm,
it's good that it's not just being enthusiastic or passionate about something, but the effect of what you are doing is a testament to your kids and those around you, and the impact such is creating in their lives. And for them to be able to independently take responsibility, either in leadership, in coordination, in making sure that people act in a way that is of great value and standard, it's incredible, because we know what's happening today all around us in the world, and we know the challenge a lot of parents, a lot of kids are having. In fact, I don't want to talk about the data in the UK, the data in the US, the data in Europe. Is I was sharing this with my family the other day. I was like, oh my goodness, where did the
mm,
parents stay wrong? It is
mm,
messy. I'm telling you,
mm,
it is so messy that
mm,
the government honestly don't even know how to deal with this, because
mm,
the issues and the challenges of what is going on. Uh,
mm,
and it breaks my heart. I met a girl, I met a guy 2 days ago, and he's in charge of looking after a lot of teenagers that they refuse to go to school. You won't believe this. They say they don't want to go to school anymore, that they just what they like. Excuse me, what they like. And the government don't know what to do. So what they're doing now, they just get independent houses. They are no longer with their parents. They put them in different places here in the UK, and they will have people that come to the houses to teach them, because it's compulsory that every child at least will finish GCSE, will finish secondary school. So now they can't go to school because they say they don't want to go to school. And when they go to school, they are causing chaos, problem. Teachers cannot handle them. They can't talk to them.
wow.
The government is okay, fine. Just to ensure that they finish secondary school, let's pack them, put them in different houses, get people that will come and teach them, and then we pay them so that they can just finish. And then I was asking the guy, some of these children, how is their grade? So a lot of them is what we call ungraded. Ungraded
Mm.
means the result is not even F. It's not even
It's not
D.
even
It's
able,
not
you can't even grade it.
you can't grade it exactly. So, and we have a lot of kids like that in their 14, 13. It really blew my mind after listening to this guy telling me that is his job,
Mm.
going to different houses. And he shared quite a lot with me. I was blown away. I say, my goodness. So this is some pandemic taking place in right inside our
Oh,
shores.
it is. Oh, it
It's
is.
a big issue. So I'm fascinated to see that you are living testimony of what you are teaching, and the kids are also proof. So I'm saying to all parents that is watching this, that is going to listen to this or listen to this via the podcast, you need to take action, right? Whatever we're saying here is a fact, and it's for you to take it seriously and take your parents to the next level. It's going to show you how we can connect with each other, how we can get away from what we do and all that. Everyone wants to be part of this. And if you have questions, drop it, comment, and all that. Please do this, and also share this broadcast. And I hope we're gonna get more traction to this as well. So, Wendy, now let's look at this. Let's get a little bit into this activity, right? You've gotten some recognition, and you've been in some places. You have been recognized by Facebook. You've been interviewed on various TV stations worldwide, likes of TVN, etc. Does this affirm your why in the parenting space?
So what
I know it
affirms
doesn't.
my why is not what affirms my why really. It's not all of this. I will be sincere
Okay,
with you. What
good,
affirms
good.
my why to what I do? I've spoken on many platforms. I'm grateful
Mm,
for it. I've
right.
spoken on platforms, all over Nigeria, the world. I'm currently working with the Lagos State government on their parenting roadmap. I
Mm,
have, actually been in spaces that are very, you will say rewarding. Some people will say amazing. Some people will say awesome, and all of that.
mm,
But the most important thing that have
mm,
happened to me on this journey is working directly with parents. Now,
mm,
what affirms my why? in the parenting space is the testimonials that come from my work.
Hmm.
It is the I met a parent at zero, and the parent is at the other end. That's what affirms me. I am
Hmm.
passionate about your work, that when you pay me, I don't leave you.
Hmm.
I trail you like you are owing me. Parents in the
Hmm.
academy say to me, Coach, we have paid. It's okay. Allow us to now rest. And for me, for me, it's more than the money. Maybe God walked me through understanding money before I did this. So I understand that this is not money.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
it's I know where to find money.
Hmm.
So it's for me, the reward is a parent comes to you and says, oh, this my child is a mess.
Hmm.
Everybody says that nothing can be done. I have
Hmm.
given up. Somebody just tells
Hmm.
me about the Intentional Parenting Academy and say to me, just try. And then
Hmm.
11 months later, this same parent is coming back to me to say
Hmm.
that this same child is being recognized in school as a senior prefect. That's the kind of reviews that we have.
Hmm.
And that is the only thing that makes me sleep well. You see, all of these recognitions, they are
Hmm.
good, they are nice. I call them nice to have. That's
Hmm.
what they are. They
Hmm.
are good. Yeah, people see all of it and they say, oh, that means you've really done well. Nah. My affirmation on this work, go
Hmm.
and look at the reviews of the parents that I've worked with. For me,
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
what should tell you whether what
Hmm.
we're doing is working or is not working. I can
Hmm.
pay through my way to being recognized. You can't
Hmm.
pay through your way to transformation.
Hmm. Hmm.
You only transform people by the work that you're giving. And,
Hmm.
for every time parents come to me to share this, there are
Hmm.
some reviews that I hear sometimes and I'm in tears. And I'm
Hmm.
like, who are they talking about? And that's why the parents in the academy, people say, Coach, I think the parents in the academy worship you like a god. I say, I don't even know who they are. I don't even know
Hmm.
what they are saying. But you know the truth. And somebody will ask me, when you hear all of this about you, how do you feel? I say to
Hmm.
the person that walking the journey of impact made me understood why Moses was a humble person.
Hmm.
Moses didn't have an option. You can't do impact and be proud. It's not even
Hmm.
possible because you need to
Hmm.
be humbled at every time. You will
Hmm.
know at some point that this is not just about you, oh, I know how to do it and all of that. You will know at some point that you are graced for the work that you're doing. So
Hmm.
my affirmation now why for doing this is in the work that we do. And that's why when you read my books, my publications, you see
Hmm.
that they are experience field, they are tangible, they are, you can touch it, you can relate to it, you
Hmm.
can you can put it all. So you can't even meet me with all of the accolades. So I don't see the accolades, I
Okay,
see the impact. That's
that's
what I
right.
see. Mm.
You can't do impact and be proud.
No, you
That is incredible statement. You can't do impact and
yeah.
be proud. And the guys, she even responded to the first question, because that is exactly what is going on here. What is changing, the lives that are being changed, relate to marriages, and also the parenting lifestyles that are being transformed is the key thing. And I can tell you, if you are doing something that is worthwhile, that is um, your work is not generational, your work is transgenerational. Okay. Some of these parents, they are transferring things to generations even unborn.
Yeah.
So the is just something that can humble someone, and just make the person to even be more focused on what they need to do. Okay, so now let's go into how to parent intentionally. So guys, I hope you are ready to hear. Okay, now, she's very unapologetic in what she says. All right. So you will not hear things that, like you are taking
That will
lollipop.
please you. Let's put it straight.
Yes. So Wendy is not going to please you, and she's not seeking your approval to be pleased. All you have to do is just accept. Obedience is better than sacrifice if you want to see the results. So we're getting into the meat now, and please let someone know about this. Share this in your groups and let people come and know that what we're sharing here is really critical. I know that we've changed the date. A lot of people have been sending me, say, "Oh, this one's I'm in the hospital." You and say, "I'm busy with this." Oh my goodness! But the day I said, "Don't worry, forgive us for all the back and forth and all that." But it's gonna be here. You're gonna still see it, and you're still gonna get it on different other social media sites. We really want to make sure everyone that should have been here get access to this, because this can be a life changer in your parenting journey. So let's get in now into the intentional aspect. What are the key difference between auto parenting? I know you love this one. What is the key difference between auto parenting and skill based, knowledge based parenting in our world today? Please help us because some people are parenting like autopilot. Please help us.
you know, Chinda is trying to bring out my academic part of me outside. I will try. The parents in the academy say, you see coach smile outside, it looks so nice. When she just comes in, she will just tell you, it's either you come hard or you go home. There are no middle grounds.
I'm telling you.
There are no middle grounds in parenting. Parenting
Exactly.
demands 110% from you. Parenting
Exactly.
does not demand less
Yeah.
than that. And
Mm,
and that's
mm.
why for me, when people say I will just do what works for me. You see that word? You see that
Yeah,
word?
that's a
That's
lot.
auto parenting. I will just do it
Mm,
the way it works for me. If parenting is not changing you, you're not parenting effectively. That's one thing that
mm,
you must know.
Someone put that
The
down. Mm,
moment you become a parent, you lose the ability to do whatever you want. And if you're still at the place where you're still thinking, I can be whoever I want, I can just be the wokeness, in quotes, that means you're not ready for this job.
mm,
And when we talk about auto parenting, is it is you parenting on probability. And when you parent based on knowledge, it is you parenting on intentionality. Now I'll tell you the difference.
mm,
Probability is what a lot of our parents did.
mm,
Eh, After all, I did it for your elder brother. Is it not the same method I used for your younger brother?
mm,
You turned out okay. You didn't turn out okay. That's your business. I have done my best. Pikin wey
mm,
go dey alright, they go on, dey alright in Nigerian parlance.
mm,
Pikin
mm,
that will turn out okay will turn out okay. It is
mm,
not the making of the parent. There's limits to what it is that I can do. I have only done what it is that I know. Is God. Then we now submit. Is God that parents children? I don't even know who started
mm,
that.
mm,
And because if it's God that truly parents children, why do we have Jesus Christ being brought to earth to be parented by Joseph and Mary?
mm,
Why didn't Jesus, God, say, you know what? I will parent this child myself. And I'm going to just drop, this child being parented myself and he doesn't need a parent. He doesn't need any parent.
mm,
Now, parenting is a core responsibility for parents.
mm,
Parenting is your responsibility, not God's responsibility. Now, when
mm,
you parent on auto parenting, you are doing it on probability. And probability says that you can get 2/3, 2/5, 3/4. That's why you see, in a home, the same method was used, everything, and then you see that two people turned out very, very, very doing well. And then the rest of the three, they are battling. What do you think happened? A lot of us have submitted that, well, anybody that will turn out okay will turn out okay. But that's not it. Now, knowledge-based parenting gives you a 5/5. I tell you why. When God gave us the mandate to raise anybody, he didn't do it on probability. He had an assurance that you're going to become a co-creator with him. Now, what does it mean to co-create? Co-create means that you are like a God. It means that a part that you need to play, just like as God is playing, you're co-creating. It scares me the more when I recognize that who I am is a co-creator. So it helps me to actually look at my job as a parent and begin to understand that, okay, this job is not as easy as something I can just throw out there. Now, when you begin to say any child can turn out anyhow, you're calling God a liar, and you are abdicating the responsibility that God has given you. Now, when God gives you a child, God trusts you 100%. He's trusting you 100% with a mandate, a core mandate of the word. So there is a bigger picture. Every one of us comes here to play a part. And God gives you that child to help, to be able to raise, to play their own part of that puzzle. And then you fail at it because you just say, oh, it's God that is supposed to do it. Now, knowledge-based parenting gives you an intentional result. Many of the times, one of the things that happens to us when we do the auto parenting thing is that we just want to run. I call it a lazy kind of parenting, because knowledge-based parenting is hard work. If you're going to parent based on knowledge, it means that you need to know what you don't know. It means that you need to build skills that you don't have. It means that you need to, go find a core that you didn't even know was existing. You need to find knowledge. And I'm going to, conclude with the story. I like the story of the foolish virgins and the wise virgins in the Bible. In that story, just a part of it, it says that some people, all right, some of them, the 5 virgins, were prepared. And then 5 of them that were prepared, oh no, the Bible said 10 of them were prepared. Sorry for that. And that 5 had extra, all right? 5 had extra, 5 didn't have extra. So on that journey, there was in parenting, you are thrown into a space. You get the same thing. But something happened to the wise ones. The wise ones ran. They had something more than what is just the norm. And when it was time to actually, when it was time to meet the bridegroom, because they had lost time, the people that had extra, that's why they were called wise. The people that had extra were the people that were able to meet the bridegroom. The ones that didn't have extra, the Bible recorded that they were foolish. Now, they were not foolish because they didn't prepare. They did. They were foolish because they didn't get extra. On your parenting journey, the moment you're doing the norm, there are no extras. You're being foolish. That's what it is. And when it's time to meet the bridegroom, you will probably not be able to meet that bridegroom because you don't have any extra. And I say that parenting in the 21st century is wisdom parenting. You can't even parent today without wisdom. So wisdom is that extra. So if you're doing what I call the Achikote Kuono parenting, if you're Igbo, I'm sure you understand. It means let us all prize all these things together and just, take it and just go. And if that is your own method of parenting, then that's a parenting that is going to hit rocks, because parenting demands an extra, and then double extra. So if you're not getting the extra, you're not giving the extra, you're not looking for it. And I remember that when the foolish virgins asked the people that had extra to please borrow to them, they said, no, go and buy yourself. This extra, you need to buy it yourself. You can't even borrow it from your neighbor. Your neighbor's extra cannot help your child. Your siblings' extra cannot help your child. Your pastor's extra cannot help your child. You need to buy your own extra. The question is, do you have your own extra?
Wow. Okay. There's not much to even say again, right? But I think you're getting they call it the gist. You're getting where we're going with this, okay? And there's no point to argue or to begin to feel uncomfortable. This is just the realness of what we're talking about.
No, it's good to feel uncomfortable, Chinda. When you feel uncomfortable, it means that something is wrong. Okay. So it's very good. Yeah, it's actually a good place to be. When people listen to me and they say, "Oh, this thing is," when you actually get angry, then there's something wrong there.
Okay, right. So feel uncomfortable so you can wake up, right?
That's
Okay. So
it.
it's sometimes when something is hitting you, you're almost getting upset with the person trying to tell you the truth,
Uh-huh,
right?
uh-huh,
You
uh-huh.
say, it's like something I've been you need to wake up, but you just been
Mm,
dismissing it, right?
mm.
Being in denial. Things are happening with the kids and your way of doing things, and then somebody comes to tell you, look, this is why it's happening, and direct to your face. As an adult, you just intelligently and manipulatively just look at it like somebody is offending you.
No,
So
you say
this
that
is
somebody is judging you. I think
judging you. Yes,
that's the new word
exactly.
in our world.
Exactly. Somebody's
You feel
judging
judged.
you. So please, if you are judged, it's better because it will just make you think differently. And this
Mm.
is why I just want to go straight, because of our time. I want to go straight to the number 6. What are the highly critical skills that parents must have to parent intentionally today, and how can they acquire these skills?
Chai, this question is like a master class of 1 year. I'm going to make it a bit easy.
Okay. All
I
right.
usually say that the 1%, parenting demands 1% from you continuously. Parenting is not
Mm,
demanding you to do 1 million things per time, because it's in the
mm,
trickles, it's in the things that you do in trickles. That's what sums up. Which is
mm,
why I remember one of those days I had shared that my daughter, made a full meal. My children started making full meals at age 10. So I can have my nails really long when the twins
mm,
are around, and
mm-hmm,
I don't need to get into the kitchen. My children enjoy to cook anyway. They
mm,
started quite early.
mm,
And, I remember that most times I would share about it, and I'll say, oh, the twins, made this and all of that. A lot of people will say, it's not possible. How can you say that? All these social media
mm,
so no, 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 and all of that, all of those things that we say. But the thing that is, very interesting. There are a few other people who will say, okay, yes, this is, possible. But I have
mm-hmm,
a 13-year-old who cannot even boil water. And then they go home on
mm,
picking. These are two sets of people. The people that will say,
mm,
I bet it's not it. And the people that will say, this is true. Ha!
mm,
And people that have a 13-year-old, my 13-year-old have not started doing anything. Then they go home.
mm,
Fool me, come and see your mates. They've been
mm,
cooking things, blah, blah. And then
mm,
you land on the child, and
mm,
the child is wondering, what the heck is happening here?
mm,
Because your 13-year-old has never been taught. And that's what I say in parenting.
mm,
We demand from our children the things we haven't even taught them. And it is a big deal in parenting. You go to your friend's house, you see the children doing something, you're carried away by their journey. You just
mm,
get home and then you start getting angry, getting offended. My children are not
mm,
doing it. They are not doing, these people are doing it. No, that's not the question. The question would be, have you really taught your children to do this?
mm. That's true.
And that's why we can't wake up and compare our journeys. You can't even listen to me and say, oh, that coach that came. You will just copy display and you get
Mm,
frustrated.
mm,
And when you copy display, you make mistakes. Anytime, any day. Because beyond display, there is a background of the things that are happening behind display. So, what we're sharing with you here is display. Trust me. There are things that you need to do. All right. And it is very important that before you demand from your children the things that
mm,
you're demanding from them, all right, you need to actually get into the process. See, parenting is not about tips and hacks. I heard it from the
mm,
Holy Spirit. I didn't hear it anywhere else. Parenting is about the process. If you do not do the process, then you will get frustrated. If you're constantly on a social media page looking for tips and hacks here and there, trust me,
mm,
you struggle on this journey. Because what we
mm,
share on social media, it's tips and hacks. I lead a
mm,
community of over 100,000 people on Facebook. I lead a
mm,
community of almost 30,000 people on Instagram. We have a
mm,
bubbling YouTube channel. All of that, it will be you copying display. Please, parenting
mm,
is about the process. And for you to do the process, you must do the time. Now, these critical skills that we're talking about, it takes
mm,
time to develop it.
Mm.
Something happened. For instance, one of those critical skills or skills that you will need to build will be emotional intelligence.
Mm.
There is no parenting without working on your emotions. It doesn't exist. I see quite a number of parents. You get on this journey and you find out that one of the things that frustrates you is that you can't even put your emotions in check. And many of the times we talk about wisdom parenting, but we find out that this emotions control, it just keeps you up. Your child does something, you flare up, you can't control yourself. You don't have the ability to do that. Emotional intelligence is a critical skill. And you don't pick emotional intelligence on the street. You build emotional intelligence.
Mm.
You build over the years. For the past 10 years, I've submitted myself to the process of emotional intelligence. And trust me, it's been a turning point in my life. See,
Mm.
when you build yourself in parenting, you build every other area of your life. That's one thing that I know.
Mm.
Because parenting demands from you to build critical skills that makes for life.
Mm.
Number two of those kind of skills that you would need to build will be what I call the spiritual quotient, emotions quotient, spiritual quotient. A lot of the times I meet quite a number of parents and they say, I really know God. I'm praying to God. And when you get into the academy, you do want to about spirituality. You even begin to understand that, okay, this is my spiritual journey. What is happening here? Because many of us were not raised to understand spiritual skills. We
Mm.
were raised to just follow. See, our system of upbringing did us a disservice
Mm.
because it was a system of just obey me instructions.
Mm.
He raised a people who couldn't think. That's why you will see someone get into a system because the person is a pastor and say anything to you, and you will take it hook, line, and sinker because you have been raised to just obey. When the Bible talks about train up a child,
Mm.
the Bible is talking about in the way he should go. That
Mm.
way he should go might look like disobedient at some point to you. So when parents ask me, what do I need to raise a child? What does it mean to raise a good child? I just want my child to be obedient. When they tell me that, I laugh. Obedience is not the core goal of parenting. Impact it is. A child who will
Mm.
thrive and impact their world. That's what the goal is. An impact always doesn't necessarily conform, in quotes, to what it is that you think it is. Because every one child is called for a purpose. I'll give you a very vivid example. My father would think I have, name the degrees that you want to name. I do. I came out top of my class. I have 3 master's degree. I am a bookie. So if there is anything at all, right, it will be that I should be in a certain way. So in my process of impact, I have disobeyed. Disobedience.
Mm.
Disobedience. What we call disobedience. I don't know what that means. But it can actually be, the way we describe it can actually be negative. We demand blind obedience from our children. We want them to do things even when we are wrong. I tell people that if you really want to raise your children, then you need to teach your children honor as a skill. Takes me to the next one, not obedience. When you teach your children to honor, you go above the minimum language or minimum knowledge of obedience and you
Mm.
get to something superior. What honor does is that honor looks at the person and looks away from the law. And honor is able to actually translate, and get your children to be able to do things
Mm.
do things that are impactful, not just things that will make them look obedient.
Mm.
What does honor do? Honor teaches your children that you're not right all the time, yet there is an access to honor. Now, obedience teaches your child that you are right all the time. You are the alpha and the omega. I have said over and again that the
Mm,
limiting narrative in parenting is a false narrative. That
mm,
narrative that says that you are right all the time is a destructive narrative. You do not want to go that way because you're not wrong all the time. You're not right all the time. There are
mm,
times that you are wrong. And on my journey as a parent, I have had times where my twin children have held me accountable to things that were not right. And because I have taught honor over just obeying me, I do not want my children to obey my errors. I do not want
mm,
them to obey my wrongs. I do not
mm,
want them to obey my immorality. I want them to obey the standards. And that standards rises above you as a person in the structure of your parenting. So your child can disobey you when you get to that point. And it's no longer about you. It has now become about what is right. There are things I would want to do and take a wrong route. My children are very quick to say to me, Mom, you know that this is not the right way to do it. That's the kind of parenting we're talking about. When you teach your children, I say that is superior knowledge. Another thing that you want to learn as a parent, there are too many of them. I'm just going to name a few. Are social
mhm,
skills. And many of the times, these social skills, what comes under it, you have, quite a lot of it. Okay. You have, communication, interacting with people, and all of that. Now, many of us, our parenting is full of instructions, criticisms, judgments, yellings, threatenings. You don't communicate. You just talk to your children. It's not the same thing. A lot of us do not have conversations in our home. A lot of us do not connect with our children. You
mm,
are you are just a parent. There are no conversations. Conversations would mean I actually really want to do this. And I know it's wrong, Mom. I'm thinking of it. Have you ever had such a thing that have happened to you in the past? And the response would mean or would sound like, son, we all make mistakes. I've had this happen to me before. This is what I did. And I know that you have learned what it is that you can do to be able to take you out of this situation. If you need more, you can come to me. I'm always here to listen. Conversations with me that
mm,
you are not judging your child. Conversations with me that all you're thinking of is not control. Conversations will mean that your children have a voice to say, I have made a mistake. Can I really speak to you? Anytime my children picks up the phone to say, I've made a mistake. I had a trouble. My daughter called me in school and said, I had a trouble with a teacher. Can I speak with you, Mom? And for me, that is me having conversations. And that's not me talking over my children. It's a skill. For you to actually communicate, you need skills to be able to do that. You need to work on your emotions and then you need skills. Conversations will mean that your child comes and just says, I have a crush on this guy. He's really very fine. And you are, oh, wow, interesting. That's what conversations mean. Conversation does not mean a child coming to you and say, I didn't know when this happened that I just want to say, why are you like this? You have disgraced me. That's not conversation. That is you talking to the child. So when people say to me, why do you say we should not hit a child? I say to them, I have been talking, it's not working. I say to them that parenting doesn't demand you to just talk. Just talking is not a disciplinary tool. And that's where we keep missing it. Conversation, social skills, we mean that you're listening. There are times where I'm passing and I'm hearing my son and his friends tell stories, and we're listening, and my husband and I are looking at ourselves and we're taking note to be able to come back to the conversation in a time that is better to be able to take it in. Being able to relate with your children will mean that you wear what I call the humility abada. When you get into the academy, we show one for you. We scored 365 yards. So you need 1 yard per day. So I told the parents in the inner circle that it's no longer 1 yard per day, that I have a factory behind my house. My niece and my- I don't need to buy. I just go there and tell them, cut a yard for me. Few days ago, when my children were on midterm, my daughter sat me down and said, "Oh, mom, this particular thing you did, the way you did it, and all of that." In that time, it was my humility time. I needed to keep quiet. I needed to take it in. That's what wisdom parenting teaches you. Does it stop me from being a parent? No. It just has helped me to connect with this child who is looking for a parent to connect with. Another skill that is very critical when we talk about social skills, under social skills, we also have the ability to teach your children how to associate with people. I see quite a number of parents, you talk to them, they say, "My children are my friends. I don't need friends." It's one of the most, I called. When I hear it, I'm like, what are you saying? You give your child the burden of being friends with you, and then you teach your children. You don't even understand how to teach your children about social connections. For you to be a parent, do you know that there are 7 legacies you must pass on to your children? One of them is what we call divine relationships. The relations is strategic divine relationships. The kind of relationship that David had, that David was looking for who to bless for the sake of Jonathan,
Mm,
even when he
mm,
was not there.
it's not there.
The kind of relationship that I heard Bishop Oyedepo talk about when he went to Benson Idahosa University when Idahosa had died, and he said, "I will take up paying salaries for 5 years so that this school can stand, and that will be it." That's the kind of strategic relationship you should
Mm,
when it comes to parenting and leaving a legacy for your children. It is a skill. You don't pick it on the road. And your children will need to understand that it's part of your legacy. When people talk about legacy, they say, "Oh, my children are my legacy." I don't get it. I've never been able to get it. You are your own legacy. What you do is you. You are your legacy. And that legacy is transgenerational. Another skill, critical, very critical, that you would need to learn is how to fail adversity. You will need to understand and learn how to fail and fail forward. You will need to understand and learn how to use failure as a tool in parenting. I say that when you fail really in parenting is when you don't know what to do with failure itself. So you never truly fail in parenting. You only fail when failure can't be used. So you need to learn adversity, how to fail, how to fail. It's called adversity quotient. You need to learn how to fail and hold on, how to fail. That's adversity quotient, okay? How to hold on when everything else isn't working. And then what you need to do when that happens. And that would look like you accepting the fact that your child can fail in school and redo a class and it's not a problem. And then you use that
mm,
for you to be able to actually help your child become better. I remember one of our parents, and this parent actually had a problem in school. The son had done something wrong, and this parent had gone into this child had to serve the disciplinary method and all of that. And then of course it was something that was really a struggle. Eventually this guy would come from zero and become leading. He went on a 2-week suspension, went through all of the, "Oh, my mom," all of this shame and all of that, because it was a very grievous offense, and then came out tops of the class in that year. That's what you do with failure. You don't sit down
mm,
and wail when you fail. That's not what you do with failure. It takes me to
mm,
the next skill, disciplinary strategic skills. Now,
mm,
discipline is not by you screaming, shouting, hitting a child. It does nothing. Let me tell you what we do. We say we are very disciplined people. Your child will do something in school. They call you and say, "Oh, this child needs to go on suspension." And then you go into the school, get your child, was the child slap. For that, still, you take the child home, beat the hell out of the child, and then go back to the school and beg the school that please, exam is coming, that your child needs to really sit for exams so that he doesn't need to go on suspension. What do you think you have done? That's zero when it comes to discipline. You have missed it. You have just bailed your child out. And because you have hit your child, hitting a child is not a disciplinary strategy. What it has just done is that it has now, it's impacting the emotional brain. So the
Mm.
difference between discipline and punishment is that discipline impacts the emotional brain. Discipline impacts the thinking brain, while punishment impacts the emotional brain. When you punish, it's emotional. That's what it is. So it's just emotion, and emotions are not enough on this journey. When you discipline, it impacts the thinking brain. You want your child to be able to think. And that's it. I remember my son having an issue in school. And in primary school, he has hit someone, and the disciplinary, this thing demanded that I think he went to suspension or something. And they said to me, your children don't even hit people. Your children are so awesome. Oh, your children just talk to the school. Many teachers came to me and said, no way. My son already understands that if there is a disciplinary route, you go through it. That's true discipline. He went through it, was at home and learned what he needed to do. After that episode, my son would come to me and say to me, Mom, it's so hard to learn things through consequences of your action. But when you do, you actually truly learn it. I've had time to think about this whole thing the past few days. And I have thought of it. I would have chosen a better way. And if I did, this wouldn't have happened. You want to get your child to think. The aim of discipline is not to shame a child. The aim of discipline is not to make a child sober. That's not the aim of discipline. The aim of discipline is to make your child think and use their mistakes and turn it into something amazing. That's what discipline is about. And there are too many other skills that I want to go on and on and on and on talking about. But Chinda, I'm going to stop here.
Uh, in fact, I wanted to say we have to stop here because they need to join the inner circle. Okay, we'll come back to that, guys. Right? You have to. I mean, oh my goodness me! I don't know why you're not the president of child training on the planet. If there was anything like that, we just
Hmm.
want to say, please, you have to be the president of worldwide training, and all countries need to register. We are starting January 1st, first few weeks for African countries, followed by Asian countries, and then we go all the way around like this. These are what makes parenting incredibly and amazing. You can't parent like this without having a child that grows up to become world class citizens of the world. It's just not possible. And unfortunately, many parents are really struggling. And if you're hearing this, and you're going to watch this in replay, you're going to listen to this via the podcast. I said at the beginning, you're not going to hear what you like. And I believe by now you are getting the gist. Okay. You will hear what is going to shift you in your core, something that will make you almost wanted to say she's judging you. But if she judge you in righteousness, I think it's a better judgment. Because she just wants you to wake up. It wants you to think differently and to act differently, right? Now, this next question, I just want her to just breeze through it, but it's very, very important because I see this quite a lot. Is praying and
Hmm.
fasting not enough to parent our kids today? Why bother when God is on your side always? Do you get me now? Moses
Chinda,
told the people, Moses told the people, who is on the Lord's side? We are told that the Levites, they were on the Lord's side. And then the other ones that were not on the Lord's side, snake was biting them. They were crying and dying. So we that were on the Lord's side,
hmm.
why are you worrying us about the skills, the knowledge, the reading, the this and that, when the Lord is on our side? Please take us, no, take us back to. Are you not spiritual, Wendy? Are you not spiritual? You can't tell me you are not spiritual now.
your
You
your
don't fear
your
God?
your president of married life management it's coming into the inner circle for information. So, and he's a very spiritual somebody. So now, this question is actually very critical. I'm going to start it with a quote. My
Okay.
pastor will say that any faith that holds God absolutely responsible is an irresponsible faith. That's Bishop David Oyedepo.
Mm,
God has his role to play for us. Prayers have a role to play for us, but we have a role to play. And one of the problems is that we are praying is good. Fasting is I'm born again first before I am any other thing. And I like to say I'm a practicing Christian. I'm not a by the way Christian. When I speak, you will not hear me say, excuse me for using the Bible. That's who I am. These are the principles that I live. So the Bible is what I believe in. I believe in God. I believe that Jesus Christ is the Savior. Now, I also believe reading through and walking with God on this journey. I've also come to understand that God is a God of principles. He does not change
mm,
principles. Systems work. God just places systems. That's
mm,
why God has created human beings with mud once. He just placed a system where every one of us will be having children. And
mm,
that's the system of God for recreation. And he made you part of that recreation.
mm,
God has created a system where a child must pass through the belly. If God wanted to tweak it, I'm sure with Jesus Christ, he would have dropped him. But God
mm,
still brought Jesus Christ with the family. He wanted to show us that he is the God of the system. And he says that I will hold my word, I will exalt it above everything.
mm,
The word of God is about systems, is about principles. And part of that word is that when we do not do parenting, we don't do our roles, God will call us out. That's
mm,
why God called Eli out. Eli was a priest. He prayed, he believed, he
mm,
fasted. Yet, because Eli didn't do his part, he let his part, left it for God. Eli
mm,
failed.
mm,
Look at the likes of David, the same thing. Look
mm,
at the likes of Moses, the same thing. God is
mm,
not even the way I am, doing impact, helping parents transform them. If I
mm,
don't do the work, God is not going to help me do the work,
mm, mm,
even though I am helping families. And that's what happens to a lot of pastors. You pastor, does it mean that when your children go haywire, those pastors are fake? No, they are not. They actually
mm,
called for it. It's just that they didn't pay attention to the fact that God, that principle holds on to everyone. Now, a responsibility is on us. It is a responsibility. God, like I said from the beginning, my best definition of parenting is that you're a co-creator with God. If you're a co-creator, it means that God is going to, get us on this path. But the thing that has happened, Chinda, that is something that is very interesting to me. We
mm,
have abdicated this role between us and God. What we have done is that we pray that God should come and parent for us, and then we begin to protect our children. And incidentally, God didn't promise us, parenting. He promised us protection. But we want to protect our children. And then we ask God to parent them. So we are
mm,
so scared. We don't want our children to do anything. We don't even want our children to pick a pin. We don't even want
mm,
our children to move from our side. We don't want to let them be. We are so
mm,
in charge. When you talk to parents, they tell you, no, I can't do it. I told someone that my children started traveling within Nigeria alone when they turned 10. The person was looking at me like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, protection is from God, not me. My job is to do
mm,
the part I need to do. But we have
mhm,
turned these roles. We have turned these roles. And that's why we are struggling with parenting, because we
mm,
now want God to now parent while we protect. No human being has the ability to protect anybody. None. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you live. You do not have that ability.
mm,
And until you come into, terms with this, you're going to be
mm,
parenting fear. You will parent with so much fear. You will be always agitated. No. If you take on your role, God will do his role. My pastor
mm,
again will say that when you are not committed in your own role, God
mm,
cannot, do anything. When it comes to parenting, marriage, prosperity, because they are
Mm.
earthly things.
Mm.
Because it's not just salvation. Yeah, God is interested, yes, but there is a role for you to play. That's why if you do not play your role in how to prosper, you will
Mm.
remain poor and you go to heaven.
Mhm.
And God will
Mhm.
still be God.
Mhm.
Nothing will change it. So your
Mhm.
role that you need to play in these areas of your life, parenting,
Mm.
marriage, and all of it, they are covenant systems. They are
Mm.
covenant systems. They are not just things you pray about. You pray about them, yes, but they are covenant systems. That's why in marriage, you can pray and war, and you don't apply the principles,
Mm.
it still fails.
That's right.
Because they are covenant systems. In
Mhm.
parenting, you can pray and war, and you don't apply the principles, it will still fail.
Mhm.
In prosperity, you can pray all you want, and you don't apply the principles, you will still fail. Because they are covenant, systems. And
Mhm.
when you look at those covenant systems, it means that your role must be played. I hope that this helps this question.
Whoa. Yeah. Guys. Yeah. We're just gonna get into go have a couple of questions to cover, but uh, I'm just hoping that you are gonna take action. I'm just hoping that you're not gonna be um the one that will say, I want to do, but never does, right? I will do, but never does. You take action because you want something to change, something to
Mm,
shift. The interesting thing about marriage, like as a coach, there are some relationships, they are very good from the spiritual intimacy side. There
mm,
are some that are very good emotionally intimacy side, but they're not very good intellectual intimacy side, or they're not very good on the physical intimacy side, right? So while she's sharing, you might be saying, whoa, this area I'm okay. But you will see that if you're very honest and you are examining your parenting as we discuss, you will see those areas that is being highlighted that you are struggling with. You see what I mean? And there's no point you just being autopiloting continuously the way you have been doing it. You have to now take action to work on those areas. And we're going to tell you the solution on how you're going to do it. And that is why it's going to take me and Wendy, we're going to go very fast on this now. So,
okay.
parenting responsibilities. I just want her to tell us who is responsible for the actual day-to-day parenting of a child until they are at least 18 years old. I mean, we still continue, but at least in the Western world, we say 18 years is an adult where they take
Mhm,
care of a lot of things. They can sign for themselves, they can do
mhm,
different things by themselves and all
mhm.
that. At least by that time, who is responsible to do
The
this?
father
Is it the wife
and
only or the father, or they are
the
just
father, the father
grandparents?
and the mother. And let me say this: parenting is first a man thing before it's a woman thing.
Hmm.
The man takes the run. You are running. We are helpmeets. I tell men. You see all these things that you're saying. No, my wife is in. You're doing yourself. When the chiefs are down, God will not call any woman. No. Go and
Hmm.
read your Bible. Should be you guys are
Hmm.
Bible scholars. God has
Hmm.
never asked any woman what happened to your children. It
Mm-mm.
was men he
Even
called.
even the marriage.
Even
Mm,
the marriage, na man he go
mm,
call. So your
yes.
marriage fails, you are the one. Your
Mm,
parenting fails, you are the one.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
parenting is first a man thing. You need to
Mm,
take charge. And then you now call
mm,
your wife and say, I know it's my thing. No, I need help. Come here,
mm-hmm.
come and help me on this journey.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, we have changed it, we have tweaked it, we have,
Sweet.
we have changed this thing. Women are now the ones becoming spiritual heads in the home. Women are now, why do you think we have problems in marriage? It's because the men are not the heads in the true heads in the home.
The
The men
men
are
are
not
the
the
same now.
they are the tail. In
Mm,
parenting, your wife is the one in the forefront. You're the one. Your
mm,
wife is the one going to school for midterm. Your for what's it called for PTA. Your wife is the one doing everything about parenting, doing
mm,
school runs, and you want to be
mm,
the head. How do you want to be the head?
mm,
How do you become the head when you have made yourself the tail?
hmm.
It's just a simple thing. So
And
yes, it's
and
first your responsibility.
and it's the same thing with marriage too. Women
The
are
same
also
thing.
becoming the head, and yet the
Yes.
men, they don't like to hear that
No, they
the
don't
wife
like
is
it.
the
They
head
are
in marriage.
fighting.
They want
Eh,
to fight, they want to
eh.
scream and shout, but they take take lead in the responsibility of what you're supposed to do. No, you are the back. But
Yeah,
when
the
it comes
back.
time for position, we are the head. We are the
Eh,
head of the
you
home. We
don't
are the
want
head
to
of
be
the
the
home.
ex. I tell men that the moment you begin to assert, I'm the man in this house, there's something wrong. Because
Yes,
it
yes,
is a word you shouldn't even say. We can see you
yeah,
now. You're a
yeah.
man, built, heavily built, and you're telling me that you're a man. What does that even mean? You know, I can't somebody asked me in my children's school at the PTA, said, they've not seen she didn't even know my children were in this school. It was a parent in my academy. I
Mm,
smiled. I said, but you see Mr. Logan now, that's the father of the children. Do they bear my
mm.
name? They really, I came without children. When I was coming to a man's house, I came without children. So the owner of the children is running with like their child.
Wow. Oh my goodness. That's a profound wisdom, honestly. So we now know who is going to be responsible. Is both, but the man need to lead. Look at this question now. What are the different parenting plans or strategies you teach your community, and why is a parenting plan important?
Child, this question, different parenting plans. I can only tell you, let me be sincere with you. I can only tell you
Right.
about this if you are in the academy. Because
Okay.
even if I tell you that these are the different parenting plans, I will
Mm,
confuse you. And that my
okay.
intention is not to come here and confuse you. Now, there's
Okay.
something we call the launch plan. I'll just make it simple. And in
Okay.
that launch plan, so I wrote a book that we use in the academy. I want to see if it's in my study. I think it's in my office. All right.
Okay.
And it's a book called the Parenting Launch Plan. For us in the academy, we teach parents how to make a plan from zero to when you want to launch your children. Yours could be 18, mine could
Mm,
be 25, other
mm,
people's own could be 26, depending on that. And in that
mm.
launch plan, we have a pre-launch, a test launch, and a launch proper. In the
Pro-
pre-launch,
that's a
you know,
project. Oh.
yes, it's a project now. Parenting a project now. It's not for the faint-hearted. It's not for loafers. If you're a loafer, you just you snooze, you leave. All right. So that's why I tell the parents in the academy. I say in parenting, is either you come hard or you don't come at all. There are no middle ground.
Mm,
There are no middle
mm,
grounds. It's that you are doing it well or you're not doing it at all. And that's why
mm,
in the Bible, God said, I hate lukewarm people. It's that you are
mm,
hot or you are cold. So don't
mm,
be in the middle. One leg in,
mm,
one leg out. No. And in that plan, part of what we did, what we did was to create a system where parents can look at their children and look at them and close their eyes and say, who do I want to raise? What kind of child
mm,
do I want to raise? And not just
mm,
fantasize about it, but begin to now do the work. Now, what a lot of us do is that we fantasize about who we want to raise. We
mm,
love the kind of, a particular kind of child you see somewhere. But of
mm,
course, you don't put in the work. You just wish. You just wish.
mm,
And you have the intention of raising the child who will be this, who will be that. But are you putting in strategies to get you to those intentions? And I say that in
mm,
parenting, to the best of your intentions, you must add knowledge, you must add skills because your emotions
mm,
are not enough. I love my child. You
mm,
can love your child and destroy your child even though you love your child because you do not
mm,
have the right skills to help your child with. The people that have
mm,
had issues with their children, it's not because they don't love their children, it's just because they do not have the
mm,
right. So, love alone as an emotion is
mm,
not enough, both
mm,
in marriage and in
mm,
parenting. So, if you love, one of the
mm,
most important advice my father ever gave me when I was getting married was that love is an emotion, it
mm,
doesn't sustain a marriage. Principles do. That was
mm,
a working, this thing for me. When you do this thing without having to actually look at the principles that follow them, and you're just saying, I love my child. Some people even are listening to me, and you're wondering, I love my child. Can you love my child more than I do? No, I can't. But I can tell you what will help that love become tangible. And that's what
mm,
parenting is about, the tangibility of that love. So saying that you love your child is not enough. Saying that you want your child to become a star is not enough. What work are you
mm.
putting into the process to be able to go there? So that's what the launch plan is. That's what we do
Okay.
in the academy. We help you craft that launch plan, and there's a test for that launch. I said that any skill you build in your child that is not tested is not valid. And that's where the test launch comes in. And when you test the
Mm,
launch, and then all this, I've done all this, I've done everything. Your child is not ready until you can test it and also look at the things you're doing, fail and correct it. Because I said that the home is the biggest training ground. You don't want to throw your child to the
mm,
wolf because you want to test. So there's a test launch
mm.
and then there's a launch proper. which is when your child can actually really go into the world to live on their own.
Wow, 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 wow. Guys, I think you're beginning to understand again why this is very important. And she's gonna share more about this. And you guys know that me, I'm a pro child training. I'm passionate about it, and everything about me is strength based parenting. And I don't think it likely, but for me also to say, because I like to learn, I like to grow, I like to. Anybody can teach me anything. Anybody can. I can learn from anyone, right? I'm also part of that inner circle, and I'm looking forward to December 1st, when she's gonna rain on everybody, and I can't wait. I'm looking forward to that. Okay. And there are other, parenting groups that I'm in the US and all that. I take parenting very seriously, and for those that are very close to me. So for me, learning is very critical. Implementation, different strategies, different principles, ways to make sure that your child become the very best version, the way God has created them, so that by the time you launch them out, that is what God have helped you to partner with him to create. Okay. So don't abandon it by just thinking I will just do it just the way it is, and hopefully it's gonna turn out well. If all parents are very intentional, as we're talking about today, if you master the act of parenting, I think the world is going to be a better place. Now,
Mhm.
I'm a marriage coach, just like the husband is. A lot of things I see that I deal with in the marriage, I just wish there was good parenting. I
Yes,
wish there was good
I
parenting,
know.
really.
I know what you mean. I know what you
So,
mean, sir.
so please, parents, can you make my work easy? I beg you in Jesus' name. Make my work easy, because if I mean, look at what she has been sharing. Imagine you brought up a girl through these principles, you brought up a boy through these principles. Do you know what is going to happen in their marriage tomorrow? They will replicate, they will reproduce what they have been given. That is when you have transgenerational lifestyle, and principles keep passing on and on and on. She talked about her parents coming from a leadership background. She's now inculcating it, and then the children again is going to. That is how life is. So, parents listening and that's going to watch in replay or in the podcast, please, I'm begging you to make my work easy. It's not very easy what I hear and what I deal with. Some of them is very hard breaking, and I literally cry in some of the cases I deal with. And I just knew
Mm,
that if the parenting was done like what Wendy is sharing today, I don't think I'm going to be crying that often, because of the kind of, you know, really, really damaging intricacies that I experience in coaching. So let's work together, and let's make sure that this life is not just for entertainment. It's something that you can take something out and you can act. She have a lot of books, a lot of guides, a lot of things we're going to talk about, and you can get them. The prices are so insignificant, right? It's like buying burger in London. Do you understand what I'm saying? So keep some of the burgers and KFC money, and let's use it to impart ourselves in terms of knowledge. Now let's look at this other one here very quickly, because we're wrapping up soon. How can couples maintain a strong parenting mutual front before the kids every day? And is availability essential in this regard? The reason why I'm asking this, you're talking about father is going to be there, and then the wife. How can they have a united front that both of them are working together? I saw a video today, and that video really, when I say, yeah, I was on I wasn't happy. The video was showing how the little girl prefer one of the parents more, and the parent that is trying to inculcate some principles, the girl is not taking it. But the parent that is loose, just anything goes, it doesn't matter, watch as many TVs, play many games, no control, no nothing. She just like that particular parent. And I see a lot of comment, and the people say, but this is not nice. You can see different skip of the videos, it just showing what is going on in that home. In that front, they are not united, they are not drinking from the same cup, they are not working from the same plan, the same principle. How can parents do this? Because Wendy, it's a problem. It's a big problem. And I experienced this in my coaching, where wife is saying, I'm trying to do this, the husband don't like it, I'm trying to do this, and the children are not thinking, I don't know what I'm doing, and they are all fighting themselves, and they're preferring one parent the other, and all that is an issue. How can we do that? And how is availability important to achieve that?
So, two key words: learning and accountability. Now, one of the greater disservice that they did to us was to tell us that once you marry, everything is okay. Marriage is a certificate. How did they say it? Marriage is a school. You just enter, you just stay there, you will learn on the job, you will just continue to learn and all of that. Now, one of the things I have seen about marriage, and then they tell us things like you don't need to learn from anybody. Your marriage is just unique, just learn from you. Just be walking. I see it like a blind man's walk. Both of you are blind. You are walking into the river, and somebody is telling you just be walking. Two of you. So I don't talk to anybody. There are people at the opinion that even and going to a marriage class is a no-no. Is you talking to a third party. In fact, they tell you that it's a third party, that God is the only third party. And when I hear things like that, I'm asking questions. Are we not reading the Bible? Do you know that in the Bible that it was said that older women should mentor younger women? In fact, mentorship, the place of mentorship can never be taken away. See, God is not stupid. And because we read our Bibles half and half, we just take the one that we want. The Bible, marriage is a threefold cord. The man, the woman, and God. Oh, call God now to come and settle a case for you inside your house. When you come and sit. There are just some things that we say. And God, there's something called the ministry of men. God instituted the ministry of men for a reason. And the reason is for learning and for accountability. And that's why that's the only way couple can maintain a strong parenting front. My husband and I, people meet us and they say, you guys have an amazing marriage. Oh, your marriage is so nice. Oh, it's because you're lucky. I'm not lucky. I've paid the price.
Yes, that's right.
I've paid the price. You don't want to know how much we've invested learning emotional intelligence in the last 10 years. You don't want to know how much we've invested. We do communication classes every year. Yet,
that's right.
When it comes to communication, my husband and I are like the best communicator of spouses you can ever see. But we're still learning. Because we understand that the system of accountability and learning is one of the things that kills a marriage. And most of our marriages that die today is because there's no accountability, there's no learning, Chinda. That's why.
That's true.
You find out that we are not learning, so marriages are dying every day. It is part of our launch plan. My children will never marry without a spouse who will be accountable in a marriage academy and a parenting academy. It will never happen. Our foster daughter is already married and she's in a marriage academy. You cannot go through your life without being in a marriage academy. It's a no-no for us.
My goodness.
You cannot go through raising your children without being in a marriage academy. It's a no-no in our plan. We're already teaching our children to do that because we understand how disastrous these things can be.
Yes,
and if you're not learning at the same pace, you're going to always have issues. It's as simple as that. And I said something to one of our pastors. I said, the churches, we need to begin to teach on continuous education when it comes to marriage. Continuous education. What happens is that you see somebody after 20 years, you're so bitter because they told you just learn from yourself, just learn together.
Exactly.
You become so bitter after 20 years. And you are, because you never learned, you are angry. And when you now begin to see yourself, it's because you were not learning. It's as simple as that. Because they've told you don't learn from anybody. Just, put your head and just be. So why did the Bible talk about mentorship if we didn't need to learn from humans? I like the way Apostle Selman says it. If you're a Christian and you don't study men, then you have a problem. Because men are actually the answers to a lot of your problems.
That's right.
And you must understand that. On the case of availability, whether it's essential, I say that time is the currency of destiny. If you don't do the time now, you will do the time later. Either way, you pay the price. So the choice is yours. There's always something to sacrifice. My husband will say, there's always something to sacrifice. The question will be, what will be that thing you're sacrificing? Your marriage? Your parents? Your children? Money? Job? But if there's anything you're being sacrificed, there's always something at the altar as burnt offering. Check very well whether your children are the burnt offering. But whether you're sacrificing anything every day, you are sacrificing something. And that must be at the back of your mind at every point in time. So availability essential. Time is the currency of destiny. Destiny shepherd are people who are custodians of time, treasure, and you cannot, and talent. Time, treasure, and talent. And you cannot be a destiny custodian and not be a custodian of time, and not
Hmm.
be a custodian of treasure, and not be a custodian of talent. These
Hmm.
are the things you become because you're a destiny molder. That's who you
Hmm.
are. So
Wow.
if you don't have time, the ball is in your court. You make a decision today.
You know, it's so profound, how critical everything is in life. And like you said, I think we're being robbed of what true, true, true followership of God is all about. Um, Unfortunately, many people they don't even search anything for themselves anymore. Now, the days of Berean Christians, like where you go to research, go and find things continuously to learn. We don't have
Christian
that today.
apologetics.
Yes, we don't.
Apologetics.
Yes, we don't
Yeah.
learn anymore, right?
Mm,
So,
mm.
guys, it's very, very important. What we're saying here is not just about you. What Wendy has been talking about is not about you. This is beyond you. If you're given an opportunity to have children in your custody, whether adoption or own, a youth group, charge of a girls group, you have one thing or the other, and you are still underestimating the importance and the criticality of you continuously learning and growing in order to transfer skills that can bring happiness and transformation to a generation that is even unborn. This is the time you start this. I like what one of my mentors used to say. My mentor used to say, past started with now, and future started with now. So it is up to you to decide whether your now is going to be the now that you desire based on planning and strategy. So look at, we're having this thing today. By tomorrow, Wendy, this video is past, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
some of the things you are talking about that needs to happen in our marriages is coming forward tomorrow. And a day will
Yes.
come, it will become now.
Yes.
So it is time for us to wake up and take this parenting thing very seriously, not lopsided, indifferent, or just casual parenting. Some people
Mm.
are parenting based on social media,
I
parenting
know.
based on Netflix, parenting
Mm.
based on Disney Plus,
Mm.
parenting based on one thing they are collecting here and there, and they call that parenting. No
Mm.
strategy, no principle, nothing they are
Nothing.
following. They are just all over the place. Why would you not produce children that are all over the place?
Mm.
And that is why we need to change this. But Wendy, there's a bit of challenge. This is the last part now. We'll just run with this. The challenges of parenting the Gen Zs. Ooh, guys, in fact, we don't even just have Gen Z now. We have Alpha, we have Beta,
And better.
Beta, we have Beta as well. So how did they, and God says something, right? The scripture said, they said, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. I love that part that said, in the way he should go,
Mm.
or in the way she should, not the way they want to go. Do
You.
you see? But today, and I mean in the Western world, I can tell you, Wendy, is the way they want to go. And unfortunately, a lot of us are in the Western world, or regardless of where you are, because we don't have parenting plan, parenting strategy, we're not following anybody to learn anything. So the kids are now parenting themselves. Can you imagine children
Mm.
parenting themselves? Children
Mm.
parenting themselves in school, in public places, via their mobile phone, via games, via all sorts. Children, can you imagine? 9 years is parenting 9 years. What do they know?
Mm.
So
Mm.
it's not the way they want to go, not the way they should
Mm.
go. And how will you get the way they should go? It's by having a plan. It's by joining the inner circle. It's by reading. It's by getting the principles right so they can parent them in the way they should go,
You should
not the
go.
way they want to go. Because
Mm.
what is happening all over the world today is because children are being parented the way they want to go.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, leave them. They like playing like this.
They
They
like
like
cat. They
going
like
there.
TV. They like
Eh,
screen.
yeah,
That's
they
who
like
they are.
Yeah, that's who they are. It's their
And then when you
personality.
tell them, they say you are judging us. You
Yeah,
don't have
judging
to.
them. And again, some of them they will say you are hurting their feelings.
Eh,
You are
eh,
hurting their feelings. So we know we have the Gen Zs, right? And we have this,
mm.
the alpha and the beta, right? Why is it that God is advocating that children should be trained intentionally in the way they should go and not the way they want to go? Why?
The problem is even that parents don't even know where. That's the challenge. So I don't even blame the children. The challenge is that parents
Hmm.
don't even know where they are going.
Hmm.
Parents are not aware. So it's just by fluke. So the children are now looking around, this kind, there's nobody directing us. Okay, let's just go our way. Chinda Chinda was in the UK during
Hmm.
summer, and I was on
Hmm.
Oxford Street the day the riot broke off.
Oh, ooh.
And I had just come out with the twins, my husband.
Eh,
It was a
eh.
family trip. And we were just walking past, and that riot broke off where a man was
Ooh.
killed, and
Yes.
they entered into the shops.
It shop
They were
everywhere. Yeah.
looting everywhere. It
Mm.
was a mess. I have a
Yes.
video. And
Yes.
one thing that struck me as I looked through the teenagers that were there,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
they were 14, 13, about my
Yes.
children's age mate,
Yeah. Yeah.
15, 16.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them were like 20. They were just
Yeah.
teenagers,
More of teenagers. Yes.
more of
Mm-hmm.
teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
And I took note of another thing. All of them were blacks. Every single one of them. It's not somebody that told me. I
You saw.
watched the scene.
You saw.
So it's not like, oh, all this thing they're telling us that is happening abroad. I was there,
I saw
and
it
I got
myself.
videos myself, me
Hmm.
like this. And I asked my husband, when you look at them, you will see that most of them were African children.
Yes. From
And I
African
asked my husband
homes.
in tears, and I said, where are these children's parents? And then we began to analyze it. Their parents are at work, working 12 hours,
Some work 48 hours, no sleep.
48 hours. And the children, those were the sacrificial lambs. They were the sacrifices I was talking about. They were the burnt offering
Hmm.
right there. So those choices we make. So these children are not being parented, and I don't blame them.
Hmm.
Someone was given the responsibility to shepherd them, and somebody dropped the ball.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now these children are just roaming about, so to say. No
Hmm.
parent, nothing. And I have been looking at the statistics. People leave Nigeria, japa to the abroad, and have issues with their children because we don't really parent intentionally, effectively. So the
Not
moment
even
you
issue.
leave here, the
They take
system.
they take the children away from them.
Yes, the system
Hmm.
exposes your inadequacies because you've
Hmm.
covered
Hmm.
those inadequacies with all sorts of things. You've covered
Hmm.
it with, we turned out okay. What are they saying? Is somebody teach me how to parent my child? That's what you are covering it with. The moment you leave the shores of this place, those inadequacies just show up and you begin to struggle. That's what happens.
Hmm.
It's not like anything, the children change. It's just the
Hmm.
inadequacies that change. And
Hmm.
anytime people say, oh, the children are somehow, they are the parents.
Hmm.
There is one thing that I said in my book, Connect to Correct. It's one of my, book, my very first book, actually. It's one of the most
Hmm.
sold book that I've ever
Hmm.
had, sold in
Hmm.
thousands of copies. And
Hmm.
one of the things I said in that book is that parenting is about you. Parenting is
Hmm.
about you. And many people, when they hear that, they're like, what is it? How can it be about me? It's the child. But it's about you when you really think about it. Many
Hmm.
of us need to reparent ourselves for us to really understand this mandate of God. Chinda, chinda. You see this mandate
Hmm.
of God? We need to first of all reparent ourselves. We don't understand it yet. Many of us don't know what it is.
Hmm.
So this
Hmm.
mandate of God, we need us to go and reparent ourselves, know who we are, know what we are called to do, before we can now be holding our children, accountable to a standard that we don't even have. We want our children
Hmm.
to live a standard we don't even know. We want them to actually follow what we don't even understand. Chinda,
Hmm.
is just like when we talk about God, when we talk about spirituality, the way we raise
Hmm.
children spiritually in Africa, I'm going to use that, is that we
mm,
we teach our children the God of things, the God who can buy
mm.
car, buy house. Is that Christianity? The God
No.
who can is the God who can do things, the God of things. So the moment our children, I was reading the statistics, 80% of the children who go to university abroad turn to be a taste. The reasons are
Yes,
simple. They
that's
get
right.
into the space where the things you say your God can give are the things that are everywhere.
Yes,
That's it.
yes,
So the
yes.
children are looking at it. I don't need your God anymore because your
That's right.
God is the one that gives things.
That's right.
So
The things are
until
here.
the things are here, so why am I following your
Mm,
God? So I
mm-hmm,
can just do whatever I want. Our
mm,
children, parents don't even know what spirituality is, relationship
mm,
with God. We don't even understand it because we were
mm,
not taught.
mm,
And we're talking
mm,
about the Berean Christian apologetics. I started,
mm.
taking myself through Christian apologetics to understand Christianity in the
You
real
see,
sense of it. Many of us
mm.
cannot defend our Christian faith
No,
because
no, no, not at all.
we know nothing
Yeah,
about it. We only
yeah.
know what the Bible is quoting.
Mm,
People have quoted the Bible and transcribed it to us. We don't even know the meaning. It's just like when I hear people say, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard. It's in the
mm-hmm,
Bible and all of that. That was actually Paul the apostle, actually saying that this
mm,
was what was told Elisha, but yet that the Holy Spirit can actually search all things. It means that we know the mind of Christ. Some
mm,
things we read it
mm,
and then we read it, we just quote it and just run off with it.
mm,
Actually, you can actually see what God wants you to do if you
mm,
really understand your space in the kingdom. So these are the conversations. They are hardcore conversations. We won't even live here if we begin to talk about
mm,
spirituality, because
mm,
that's the first place. Many of us really,
mm,
really do not understand who we are, what spirituality means, what God wants us to do. Until we really understand that, then we can't raise any child to actually really go the way they should
mm.
go.
You know, this is very, very powerful. Absolutely very, very powerful. And I'm just hoping that those that is listening to this, and I would like everyone to still come back and rewatch this. Share this with your friends and family. This is just gonna be what might just change the trajectory of those that are doing auto parenting and come down to the place of intentional parenting. Wendy has been sharing quite a lot of things here, and I believe that the purpose is not to entertain, it's for you to take action and for you to do things differently. Now, let's look at this other one. What are the most common challenges in parenting boys and girls today, especially the Gen Zs? And we know that Gen Zs are they're interesting generation. They are not like the baby boomers. They're not like the X generations. In fact, they are not even the millennials. So don't deceive yourself
Mm,
thinking that Gen Zs are the millennials. All these Gen Zs, all the alpha generation, the beta generation, these are completely different dynamics because of the world that they are living in. And this is the world that we are bringing them in. So now, if you are not the kind of parent that understand some of the challenges, either from the environment they are growing from, the world that we are in, and what the agenda that even the devil has for them in their generation, how are you going to make them stand the test of time and become giants, independent thinkers, people that understand their root from the spiritual perspective and from all round perspective? How can
mm,
that happen? Because the biggest challenge we're having all over the world today, Gen Zs are these, Gen Zs are these, they don't listen, they don't do this,
mm,
they are
mm,
computer children, they are
mm,
internet children,
mm,
they are game
mm.
children,
Who
they
made
don't greet,
them? Who made them computer children and game children?
they
Who?
don't greet, they don't greet their
Who?
elders, they don't
Eh,
respect. Please, what can we do with this Gen Zs and alpha generations and better?
the common challenge is that we're running off. We don't have the skills to be able to help these people. And because we also do not understand the cultural difference between these people and us, we're culturally unintelligent when it comes to this conversation.
Hmm.
So your child comes up with something, and instead of you to actually look at how can I help this child, begin to do things differently, you say, during my time, during my time. That's not
Hmm.
how we do it. During my time
Hmm.
is a culturally unintelligent way to speak when it comes to parenting. As many of us are so culturally unintelligent, because
Hmm.
you're still comparing your time with their time. You're not even
Hmm.
saying, okay, what is happening in this time? That's why the Bible says that the
Hmm.
sons of Issachar understood the times. Many
Times.
parents don't understand the times. And if you don't
Hmm.
understand the times, then you will not be able to truly parent the way you should parent. So the first thing you want to do is to understand the times. And this times requires that you learn. Somebody
Hmm.
asked, I was reading a book, The Originals, and the author was saying something. The author was saying, parenting is no longer by just mere knowledge. Parenting is no longer by experience. It is now by knowledge. It's now by proven, researches. It's now by
Yes.
wisdom. It's now
Yes.
so there are things that you must do to actually
Hmm.
be able to raise these children. And the most common challenges we have is actually the challenge of these children grappling with a set of parents that were not raised in their time. Is a big deal. Our parents
Yes.
dealt with it, but it didn't hit them as much because the
Hmm.
changes were not as drastic. The changes that these children are experiencing are so drastic. They are in split seconds, as in the changes
Hmm.
come every minute.
That's
So
right.
these children are struggling, and then parents are also struggling. But how can
Hmm.
we help them? We can only help them by learning,
Hmm.
and that's why, because knowledge today is so fluid. There's so much fluidity in knowledge that you're teaching something today, you need to actually look at that thing again and ask yourself, okay, this thing I've taught today, has the knowledge changed? What has changed? What do I need to teach again? So it's very important that we begin to actually look at all of the things that we need to learn to help our children go through this whole process. Parenting today, it's no longer, that's why you can no longer do it by, oh, I will do, how do we even say it? The way I was raised is the way I will raise my children. It's no longer going to work. You can no
Work.
longer raise your children the way, because if you do that, they are not in our times.
That's
The
right.
challenges that they have, and one of the biggest challenges, is the introduction of tech. And
Hmm.
tech, the screen, social media, and all of that, they were born into it.
Yeah.
And managing it is a big deal. And you need to actually be able to help these children through their journey. You can't do it by just sitting on the fence or just, telling yourself, you know what, I know what I'm doing. You need to do it by actually learning what it is that you need to do.
Absolutely. Let's take the next question and say, if you were given the opportunity to oversee parenting in this world, hmm, what are the key policies and guidelines must you ensure and intending parents must go through? But okay, you see, please let this one be in such a way that people will not see you as somebody that don't want them to marry and have children.
Okay, but really, if I'm given the opportunity, one thing that I'm going to implement, and it's something that I tell people, I started this conversation by saying that I love leadership. I love governance. And at
Yeah.
some point, I'm going to play in the system of governance when it comes to parenting. That's where I want to
Yes.
play. I like
Yeah.
the family system. I
Mm.
love the fact that, I like that. So there are important people, stakeholders in the parenting. Yeah, parents are important, but the government is an important
Yes.
stakeholder on the journey.
Yes.
The religious bodies are important stakeholders on the journey. The
Mhm.
church is an
Yes.
important, our religious bodies. And then the
Yes.
school is an
Yes.
important stakeholder on the journey. So these are co-parents. And
Mm.
for me, co-parents are key partners. I call them parenting partners. The government is a
Mm.
parenting partner. And if we
Mm.
must get it right from the root, we must look at, the systems, the policies that we're putting in. And one of the key things, guidelines that must be in it, is
Mm.
for people to begin to learn how to become parents. It's very important. Even before you become a parent, you should learn the basic things, guidelines on what you must build yourself on to become a striving parent. And that's one of the key things. I'm working with the Lagos state government on putting up a strategy, a
Mm.
roadmap for parenting
Mm.
in their state. And that's one of the key things we're putting up. How do we get young people who are getting ready to become parents to begin to, take
Man.
classes, learn what it
Mm.
is that they
Mm.
need to do? And I really look forward to a time where we will be able to actually make those policies and get them in the right phases and get them in the right processes. Right now we're doing those in our homes, but if the government comes in and buys in into the whole process, it
Mm.
makes it a lot more easier. And
Yeah.
I pray that one day I'm going to be able to sit even in the term of governance to actually be able to implement these things, put all of this into perspective. And beyond just even learning is the parenting continuous education process as well that happens
mm,
even when we become parents, and what we need
mm,
to do with our children as we're parents. Because the moment you become a parent, you become a lifelong learner, because you're going to be
mhm,
learning your children. You're like a school, and your children are like schools. They are learning you. You are learning them. So
mm.
it's a whole journey. It's a whole new journey that must be paid attention to. So that will be my very first thing to do.
But I'm grateful that even the state is initiating that kind of roadmap, that kind of way of approach, because if that can be formalized from the top, it will be easier to implement going down. In
Yes,
fact, they can even bring out a law, right? Government, they can bring out a law. So look, because they give you the license, right? They give you the
exactly,
license to get married and all that. So they might include it.
exactly,
So look, if you go to get married in this state, you have to go through this class, because one
exactly.
of the products of marriage, whether we like it or not, is that babies might come out of that place, right? And if baby comes out of that place, you need to be ready to know exactly what to do. It's almost like in the
Mhm.
marriage place. Well, when I
Yes,
discuss and hear a lot of couples tell me things and share, you could just see that there was no proper preparation. Okay, there
yes.
was no way they could know exactly what to do. The fact that you say, "Oh, kiss the bride," and you kiss the bride, it doesn't make your marriage work. Or you're looking forward to the honeymoon, when you're gonna go on holiday and get and say, "What? Please, I've not been this virgin. I can't wait for my this virginity in the honeymoon." Okay, that's fine. You have kept yourself holy and pure. You can be this virgin by the anointing of the Holy Spirit, and your marriage will
Chinda,
not work.
Chinda,
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Chinda. I said, I usually say when I'm teaching, about virginity, and when you ask parents, who do you want to raise? They say, I just want to raise a good child. I told them that even the Bible called virgins foolish. So your child can be a virgin. Foolish.
you know so also there are foolish virgins. Okay, there are foolish
Yes,
virgins
so
that don't know what to do,
very
and then they
stupid.
get
I'm
into marriage
telling
and they
you.
continue in their foolishness, right? And at
I'm
the end
telling
it
you.
marriage doesn't work. So it's very, very important to put all these things together. Learning is a lifelong thing. Never stop learning, and this is also a very good avenue. Now we're going to tell Wendy to just tell us a couple of things on how we can connect our product, services, and connection. So I would like her to, how can we connect with her on social media, website, platforms, as well? Share with us what are her product, where we can get it, and how we can get involved. She has something that is going to be starting in December, and the price is ridiculously nothing, okay, compared to what you're going to get out of it. All right. Me personally, I have signed up. Okay. You know me, I've signed up, and I'm willing to learn and willing to grow, because learning is something you do for the rest of your life, right? You don't
Yeah.
stop. Okay. And as someone that also support youth groups, support teenagers as well, I have two teenagers in my house. I'm very fascinated with parenting, fascinated with books, reading, and all that. When you know, I think almost all her material, I just went one day and just downloaded, just bought almost everything she have ever she have ever created, because I'm very passionate with learning and growing. So please tell us, how can we connect those that are going to watch this, that's going to watch the replay, and also going to listen via the podcast? How can we connect, and how can we get some of your stuff for my people?
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity to have this conversation with you. It's actually been very just as if we were just talking, and just like the way we were talking before we came live on this podcast, and it's really been exciting. If you want to get in contact with me, I said something at the beginning. My name is Wendy Ologe. If you put Wendy Ologe, you search me out, you find me everywhere. But we have a website, the intentionalparentacademy.com is already on the screen. And then you can check us out. We have courses and all of that on the academy website. But we also have a buzzing community. I call it a buzzing community, by which Facebook says is the most relevant parenting community that you have on Facebook. So if Facebook says it's the most relevant, who am I to say it's not? So, so yes, and it's called the Intentional Parent. So you can also get onto that on Facebook. You can follow me on my personal timeline, Wendy Ologia. I love to share about my life, my journey, and all of that. But you can follow us also on Instagram, the Intentional Parents with the S. The Intentional Parents with the S. We also have a buzzing Instagram community where you are looking at comments, you're wondering, these people are not sleeping. And yes, that's also part of it. And then we will have courses, but the most interesting, profound course that we have is called the Inner Circle program. Now, the Inner Circle program, this community is an amazing place for me. I think people say that, coach, you are very partial about parents in the inner circle. I am. I just see them like parents that are, as enthusiastic as me. I see them as parents who want to run the kind of race I'm running. I see them like parents who believe that this race you've been given is possible to run it with you. So I even said that fathers in the inner circle have a special place in heaven. Me and God agreed that they have a mansion. So I don't know if you're angry about it, I'm sorry. But that's it. They have a mansion somewhere in heaven where they will be seated, and where they will be occupying spaces. So the inner circle is a 1-year program where parents come up and we teach them the principles of parenting using different, styles of teaching, online videos. And we have parents from all over the world. Canada, I think we have parents who live outside Nigeria more than we have parents in Nigeria, really. And, and we have, parents, it's called the intentional parents, all right? Not parenting, the intentional parents, all right? Thank you,
Okay. Okay.
Oluwa Toby. Yes, the intentional parents with the S,
Okay.
not parents. Yes, the
All right.
intentional parents. That's our Instagram handle. So, and
Okay.
that's what it is that we do in that community. We help parents. We say that we raise kings. We say that we are raising a different breed of people, and I have seen it in the last 4 years that we've been running this inner circle program. It's been amazing. Short of
Mm.
looking for a word that I would use. The parents in the inner circle say to people who register for the inner circle, I'll use their words. If you come into the inner circle and you don't find value, we'll pay you back. That's how passionate they are about the inner circle. They'd say, Coach, no, keep your money. Which what? We will pay them back. We will pay anybody who comes to the inner circle and doesn't find value back. And for me, that's very rewarding. Parents will tell you in the inner circle, if you don't have money, borrow money. They will tell you in the inner circle, and it's ridiculously cheap, really, like Chinda said, it's
Yeah.
70,000 naira per year,
Yeah.
because I want it to be accessible. Some parents will say, go and pay your rent, enter the yard. Some parents will say, if you need to sell your wig, sell it. As in,
Mm-hmm.
it's that, the parents in the inner circle are that passionate because they've tested of the things that come out of that community. I can't even explain it to you. The curriculum in the inner circle is not common. It's an uncommon curriculum. It's not even online. You can't find it. When you go through the curriculum in the inner circle, you're going to be wondering, who taught her? Where did she get it from? You're going to put it on social media or wherever it is, and you won't find it. We call it the Harvard of parenting. You want to be there. And it's a community where you meet the who is who. So imagine that you're having chinda inside that community. And we raise a question about marriage. So imagine the kind of knowledge you're going to get just being there. So that's the kind of community we run. So imagine what can happen. I'm just giving you an instance. I'm giving you an example of the kind of, we will have coaches, renowned coaches all over the world in the inner circle. Sometimes I'm like, this is really exciting. We have people who are from different walks of life, doctors, celebrities, name them, military men, name them. Anybody you want to think about. Anybody you want to think about in your life. We have professors in the inner circle. So whatever it is you want to think about, you have it. It's a resource-filled environment. And for me, the people you meet in the inner circle is the most important part of the inner circle. The people you meet in the inner circle is the most important part of the inner circle, and it changes you. And there's something I call, apart from there's natural intelligence, there's the intelligence that you go to learn, and then there is community, there is something I call collective intelligence. The inner circle gives you and provides for you collective intelligence. You need collective intelligence to thrive, to actually be separated. And that's one of the things that you get right in the inner circle. So it is one place that you want to be listening to me. And like I said, your principal of a married life management. I'm looking forward to his engagement, all of the things that I would also be learning. I'm a learner. I tell people that I am the most beneficial,
Yeah.
beneficiary of the inner circle. I learn from a wealth of people. I connect with people. I now have friends from all over the world. You don't get it. As in, it's an amazing thing for me. And it's something that every year I look forward to. I connect with people that I work with personally. It's something that is exciting for me because I know that I say that in the academy, we don't just sell coaching, we sell relationships. And for me, that's a very key aspect of our work. So getting into the inner circle actually changes the core of you. And then we don't just talk parenting. We talk every other thing that changes you. When you go through a webinar like how you can actually manage your time. And
mm,
then you begin to look at it from practicability of the things that you can do. How you
mm,
can teach your children travel skills. You begin to look at it from the practicability of what you can do. How you can create a social roadmap for your Gen Zer. These are the kind of things that you begin to learn. How honor can be a skill and not just obedience. Peace as a skill. These are the kind of things you begin to learn. Favor as a
mm,
skill. And these
mm,
are the things you learn, and you're wondering, okay, where are we? How are we here? And the most important thing is that we provide you with tools,
mm,
strategies that you can run with the moment you get in. And part of those strategies, is a connection, what we call the daily connection tool. The daily connection tools helps you on a daily basis to connect with your children. Remember that I talked about the 1% of connectivity and not just the lump sum. That's what makes up the whole process and then
mm.
gives you the result that you eventually will see. But trust me, it's a community that I wouldn't even trade for anything at all. Myself, I love the inner circle community myself personally, and it's a place that you want to be really. Thank you again for the opportunity, Chinda Chinda.
Wow, wow, wow. So, I mean, it's very simple. Okay, you go to her page. She's given us how to. You can go to the website. There are numbers. You go to Instagram, the intentional parent DM. Go to this website. There's so much there, and you'll be able to be part of this because this is starting in December. We just have about, is it 11 days to go, 11, 12 days to go now for it to go live. So you can take advantage of this regardless of where you are in the world. For those listening, those going to listen in the replay, and also those that are going to listen via the podcast, please take advantage of this. You still have some time. The price is really, really affordable, but what you're going to get out of it is not about the price. You need to invest in your knowledge, in your growth, in your advancement if you want to have children that are independent but powerful, children that we can call high value children, right? High value children because of the way they were brought up. So I want to say a massive thank you for my audience. Please share this in all the social media sites, your contact on WhatsApp, put it on your WhatsApp status, help somebody to hear and to know and possibly connect with our guest today, because that might just change the trajectory of their parenting journey. And I can tell you, they will thrive. They will not be struggling. They will be intentional with skill, knowledge based parenting and not just autopiloting it because it doesn't lead anywhere. So I want to say thank you guys. Thank you so much. We've had an awesome, awesome day. So we're just gonna play a video before we wrap up. So we'll hold on. We're gonna be here next week, Thursday. I have an incredible and amazing guy that is an expert on something. But wait for it. Next week, Thursday, 7 p.m. We're gonna be here, and I can tell you, you will not remain the same as we get ourselves into that. So thank you, and I will speak with you guys next week. Remain blessed until then.